Listen, that one-on-one scene that we desperately want to see between Priscilla and Victoria will probably never happen. Stay tuned and I'll let you know why. Well, welcome back to another episode of Ruthless TV, where I review Tyler Perry's The Oval scene by scene. Now, let's get into this video. So last week we saw Priscilla leaving out of Jason's room, and this is exactly where it picks up this week. Of course, the First Lady wants to know why she's in Jason's room all alone. She tells her that she was leaving Jason a snack. And the First Lady quickly reminds her that she's not to be in Jason's room alone. And Priscilla says, yes, ma'am. Then Priscilla asks her if she can get her something, and she says no. But, it looks like you want to say something. Your eyes are saying a lot. Listen, this scene right here was very, very long. So I'm going to try to speed through this scene in the review, because it took up about a quarter of the entire episode. Well, actually, it took about 13 minutes, but including commercials, it was 15 minutes. So the First Lady is definitely taunting her, pushing her buttons, effing with her, straight up. The First Lady kept saying, oh, your husband's so fast, and do you know what I'm talking about? And Priscilla says, yes, I know what you're talking about. You went running this morning. And the First Lady wanted to know how she knew that they went running. And she said, because my husband tells me everything. Then the First Lady says, well, does he tell you everything? Did he tell you that he's my new detail leader? Then she also goes on to tell him that, how fine he is. And then Priscilla said, well, you can see all of that through his suit. And she was like, well, he had on a jogger this morning. And yeah, I could see all that through his jogging suit. Then Priscilla asks her if she could get her some tea or some water or some coffee. Then First Lady said, which I wouldn't trust you to get anything for me. Then First Lady went on to try to, keep prompting her and pushing her into the anger that she wanted to see, right? And she was like, well, where's the hood, Priscilla? Where's that Priscilla? I want to see her. Then she asked her if Jason told her about the yellow room and, her and Sam having sex in the yellow room. She told Priscilla that Jason is a manipulative liar and he's deadly. And then she was like, deadly? Deadly, ma'am? And they went on and back and forth. And the First Lady just kept trying to make Priscilla mad, but she didn't get mad. And then Priscilla would, she would ask her again. And then First Lady goes, which didn't I tell you that you can't give me anything? This reminded me of the Key and Peele scene. They did this skit a long time ago that this scene reminded me of that. But anyway, I'm going to break this scene down even more in a different review. But moving right along, Sam came from behind the wall, just kind of crept up on him. Then First Lady's telling him that they have to run more often. And she's telling Priscilla that, oh, your husband can really go the distance. Then she dismissed Priscilla, and Priscilla kind of just went on her way. And she pulled Sam into the yellow room, and as they were going in there, she was talking really loud so that Priscilla wouldn't have any trouble overhearing them. Then when Sam gets in there, he says that he asked her not to do that, and because she was tormenting Priscilla. And he said, if you do that S again, I'm gonna leave this job, Victoria. He called her Victoria. And then he tried to leave, and she said, I'm not done talking to you. And then Sam was like, well, I'm done talking to you. And, I really wish we would have seen this protective Sam, when this all went down, because now it's a little too late to protect Priscilla, right? And I really, really, really wanted to see some face slapping, some weave pulling, wigs flying, all of that. So this scene, I don't know, we're just expecting to see a whole lot more, right? So I'm not sure if we would call this scene 2 or a continuation from the first scene. Well, it's a new location, so we'll just say that it's scene 2. And Priscilla is in the kitchen, and Sam walks in there to apologize to her. Then Priscilla says that she's looking for him to tell her the truth. And Sam is like, well, no, not here. And I thought that she knew the truth. I don't think that he actually admitted to her that, what happened in the yellow room, but she, I guess, assumed that that's what happened. And they continued the rest of the scene or the rest of the episode as if he did, because he was asking her about the $25,000 and saying she wanted a divorce and all the things. But so I thought it was settled, but here they're saying she's telling, I guess she just wants him to admit it, right? I guess that's what it is. Then Priscilla goes on to remind him of Anita Parker. And Anita Parker is someone that they knew from college or when he was in the military. And apparently Sam hurt her with this woman as well. But Priscilla said that she waited for him anyway. And then she, cried and went through all the, the heartbreak. And then she even sent her boyfriend on his way. All because she was in love with Sam. But Priscilla said that she got through that. She got past it. She forgave him. But here she is going through it again. And she told him that she wasn't 20 years old anymore. And that now she is a strong, confident, secure woman. And she said, I don't care if we didn't have sex for an entire year. You made a commitment to me and you're supposed to be someone that I could trust. And she also told him that he should have waited no matter how long it took. And then Sam asks her if she's mad, and she said no. She was mad last night, but this morning she grieved the death of their marriage, and she called him a low-down mother effer. She said, that he wanted to get close to power, but she wanted to remind him that being close to power doesn't mean that he has it. And then she walks out. All right, then we move on to scene number 3, and we see Victoria in the room with Jason, and Victoria wants to know what Jason told Priscilla, and he just wants his mom to leave him alone, and she wants to know how he can sleep in a bed knowing that he killed someone in there. He said that knowing that he did kill someone in there, that it helps him to go to sleep. And he said that he'd sleep even better if she and his dad were dead. And she said the only reason that you're not in prison is because of your dad. And he said, well, I don't care. And she said, you're acting just like your sister. And he said, well, I'm starting to understand Gail more and more every day. Just get out of my room, Mom. I mean, he raised his voice at her. And then Victoria was like, okay. She got scared and then she left out. Then in scene number 4, we see Kareem here in the back of the pharmacy pretending to be Inspector Gadget. He called Sharon to the back so that she can take a look at the tape. Apparently he has a tape running around the pharmacy when they're not there. And he sees Kyle pull up in the back of Dale and blocks him in. And he basically thinks that Dale is in trouble and like he's a troublemaker and he's in this, crazy relationship or something's going on with him. But then Sharon came back there and she was like, don't think too much of it. It's not that big of a deal. Then when Dale got there, Sharon asked him if he could go to the White House with her. And he agreed to go. Then he went to the back to talk to Kareem. And Kareem was just basically all in the business, trying to be nosy. And he explained to Kareem that Kyle is just a guy that he met at a bar and that is kind of creepy and weird. And he did apologize for it. Then he and Sharon left to go to the White House. And of course, Dale doesn't have any room in his car. So Sharon had to kind of crawl over. Y'all know how it is. Got to get in from the driver's side. And, of course, she noticed that he has like a ton of clothes. But they're going to talk about that a little bit later, too. Then we move on to scene number 5 with the Donald and Hunter. Hunter wants to go by the drone strike scene. He wants to see all the damage that he caused on American soil, right? But Donald tells him that that's not a good idea and that he wants to keep all of that hidden from the press. But the president says, oh no, we can just go and pretend that we're going to see the troops at Andrews and play it off. And then we can swing by the wreckage on the way. Then he tells Donald that he wants to take Ellie to see the rubbish. And, of course, Donald is telling him it's not a good idea. And he said, well, I don't care. Just set it up. Then in the next scene, scene number 6, the president goes into Ellie's office and he wants to know why she's not picking up her phone. And she goes, oh, well, I'm just working. And she asks him if he's seen the headlines. And he was like, I'm going to be in the headlines for the rest of my life. Don't worry about all that. Let's just get out of here. And she wants to know where they're going, of course. And he tells her that he has something cool that he wants her to see. End scene. Then in the next scene, scene number 7, we see Alonzo welcoming Nancy into the White House. Looks like she's bringing some lunch for Richard. And then Frida comes in as well. And Frida's trying to get upstairs to go to work. But then Nancy says, well, can you come outside so I can talk to you? So they go outside. And she tells her, that she didn't know that her and Richard was having problems. And then Nancy was like, well, yeah, we're still married. And I know you still want him. But, we're working some things through. And just know that I'm not going anywhere. Then she tells Frida to be a woman of character and leave her husband alone. Really? Really, Nancy? A woman of character after you sat up here and kept a secret for over 20 years about Pinky? After having an affair with his own father. Girl, okay. Character my foot. Then Frida asks Nancy, are you finished? And then here comes Richard. He pops up just out of nowhere. Yeah, she's finished. Then he asks Nancy what she's doing there. And then he tells her that if she doesn't stop coming around, that he's going to have her clearance revoked from the White House. So he actually thought that she was coming up there to talk about Barry. And he goes, well, don't you understand that Barry's missing? Do you even care about Barry? And then Nancy was like, yes, of course. Sure, I do. And then Richard told her to leave and not to come back. Nancy, give him some breathing room, please, because you're only pushing him away. He doesn't want to talk to you. He doesn't want to have anything to do with you right now at this point. Like when he's ready, then he'll come around. He'll come and talk to you eventually, but just leave it alone for a little while. Let it breathe. Give him some time to digest what you laid on him. Okay? Then we move on to scene number 8. We have Kareem and Sharon on their way to the White House. And Sharon wanted Dale to be honest with her and let her know what's going on and why he had all the clothes in the car. And he said that he was so desperate to leave Virginia that, he didn't care if he had anywhere to stay. But he said when he got his first paycheck that he'd find somewhere to stay. And then Sharon was like, well, no, that's 2 weeks out. I'm not going to have you staying in your car. I'm going to ask Kareem if you could come and live with us. Girl, okay, so I'm not even going to comment on that one, but she's going to ask Kareem if Dale can come and live with them. And I'll just leave that idea right there where it is. So Dale says that Kareem thinks that he's crazy because he saw the fight in the parking lot. But he explained to Sharon that Kyle is a little bit crazy, but he was crazier. He said that he had been bullied, most of his life, and he wasn't going to let Kyle push him around. But he kind of understands why Sharon would think that Kareem would let him move in with them, because he says that Kareem is in love with her. Then in scene number 9, we see Kyle enter Donald's office, and they're basically, going back and forth about how stupid the president is and how much of an idiot he is. And then Donald makes a statement that we probably need to look a little bit further into. He said that if I wasn't making decisions, then the whole country would fall apart. Pause. I bet we see Donald and Kyle making moves against the president because he wants to sit in that seat. We're going to see how this all plays out. But then Kyle tells him, we can make it happen. I'll, go ahead and pull the SUVs around. And he said, oh, no. He wants the entire motorcade along with the beast. And he wants to impress Ellie, so that's why he wants to have this big show. Then Kyle said, things men will do to please women is beyond me. Then, of course, this is a little side shade for Lily and Donald. And, Donald kind of picked up on it, but he was like, you talking about Lily? And he just kind of asked Kyle, are we still on that? Are you going to be on this for a while? And that was the end of that scene. Then in scene number 10, we see Bobby and Max pull up to this old farm. And this farm belongs to a friend of Max's, and her name is Blakely. Max tells Bobby that she's a friend that they can trust. And Blakely is the one that we actually see in the preview for this show, for this episode. And I knew it wasn't Lily. I just knew it didn't look like her. But anyway, she pulls out a gun on them. And then, of course, Bobby's pulling out his gun. And then they introduce themselves. And, she puts the gun down because she realizes that it's Max, or Fart Boy is what she calls him. And she's not too impressed with Bobby at all. She doesn't want to shake his hand, tell him they need to go and take a bath. And she knows that Max is in some trouble, but she tells him, I don't need this kind of heat because I just got back on my feet. And then he tells her, I know, but you love the action. Then he asks her for some tequila, and she says, well, tequila makes us crazy. I wonder what kind of crazy. Then she asked about Bobby once again, and he told her that Bobby's just kind of following him around. Then we move on to scene number 11. Sharon and Dale finally make it to the White House, and then Alonzo is checking them in, and then we see Kyle pop on the scene, and he said, I'll take over it, I'll take care of this. And then Sharon lets him know that they're there to see Richard Halson, and he wants to know the nature of the meeting. Kyle is just super nosy. Of course, he sees Dale there, so he's got to F with him, right? And Sharon's just trying her best to, speak up for Dale and speak for him. But, Kyle was like, can he speak for himself? And then Sharon tells him, oh, you have to excuse him. He's just excited to be at the White House. And little does she know, that they got a whole other thing going on. Then Kyle tells Alonzo to go ahead and check them in and take them to the entry hall to have a seat. Scrub-a-dub-dub, Max is in the tub. We move on to scene number 12. Blakely comes in with some beer. I guess she didn't want to get crazy with the tequila, so she gives Max a beer, and, they're sitting there talking, and she tells him that she wants to know everything. So then she gives him her dead grandfather's clothes, and he was like, You're giving me the clothes of a dead man. But she convinced him to put them on. But he was like, aren't you going to leave out so I can get dressed? And she was like, well, I've already seen you naked. We've slept together before you got married. Then he tells her that he's actually getting a divorce. And Max is pretty clear on how she feels about him. And then she also asked about Bobby again. So, he had to keep telling her that, Bobby's cool. And he thinks he's about 80% solid. But she was like, just 80%. So I don't know if Max trusts him or not. He's kind of confiding in Blakely, something totally different from what I got at the cabin. So I'm not sure how he actually feels about Bobby for real. Then we cut back to Sharon and Dale. They're standing in the hallway and they see these two men walking by, and it's the president and Donald. So they came over and the president says, well, who are you? And then she told them that she's a friend of the butler. Then the president goes on to tell her how beautiful she is. He wants to know if she works there. And, of course, she says, no, I don't work here. And he said, a beautiful girl like you will brighten up the place. And what do you do for a living? He's just going on and on and on. She says, oh, I'm in nursing school. He's just straight flirting with her out in front of everybody, right? And then Donald tries to divert his attention. He was like, we have a cabinet meeting, sir. We need to get along. And he simply ignored him. And then he took Sharon's phone. He asked if she was free for lunch, and then he proceeded to take a selfie with her. And Dale is trying to get in the picture, and and Hunter just pushed him away. He pushed him out of the way, and then they left. Then she asked Dale why that guy was staring at him so much, and he said that he didn't know, but the sooner they could get out of there, the better. So then we move on to scene number 14, and Lily is on the phone calling Bobby, and Bobby is about to take a shower. Yeah. Him and all of his chocolateness. But Lily's telling him how sorry she is, and she's trying to cry a little bit, just putting on, making all the excuses in the world why she can't be with him, right? She's telling him that she's not used to, leaving and going from here to there. She's used to being safe and being stable and all the things, right? And then Bobby asked her, if she felt safe, and she said yes. Then Bobby said, well, you're not safe. And he said, I gotta go and don't try to find me. So, of course, Lily, she's, crying crocodile tears, and then she gets up and goes to the cabin. Then we're in scene 15, and Richard comes out to talk to Sharon and Dale. Sharon tells Richard that Dale pretty much knows where the Rakadushis are. Dale tells him that it's about 3 miles away, and of course Richard said he's going to drive up there, and Sharon was like, no, you shouldn't go up there alone. You should call the police. It could be dangerous. And then Sharon offers to go with him. At first he said that he didn't want her to go because it may be, too dangerous. He didn't want her to get hurt. But then, they all agreed to go up there, and Dale is going to ride with them. Then in the final scene, number 16, we see Lily trying to find Bobby, of course. So she's at the cabin and she's on the phone with Bobby, leaving him a message. She's letting him know that she's there. But, of course, she soon discovers that the cabin is gone and blown to pieces. And as she's standing there in awe, we see this little top secret agent snooping around and caught her on the phone. And then he comes up to ask her, what she's doing there. And he recognizes that it's Lily. He said, oh, you're the chief of staff's wife. And she's like, oh, man, you know what? I'm up here hiking. She's trying to play it off. And he was like, no, come with me. So, of course, he takes her down to the motorcade and, where everybody's standing. And, of course, Donald and Kyle are there. And that ends the scene. So that concludes this 16th episode, season 2 of The Oval Familiar Faces. Stay tuned, you guys. You know that I'll be dropping in with more details and more scene breakdowns. And I really appreciate you joining me on this episode of Ruthless TV. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. And I will see you on the next one.